Cricket presents The Campfire, and today we are taking a deep dive into District 6-6A. The schools in this district include Coppell, Louisville, Flower Mound, Hebron, Marcus, Plano, Plano East, and Plano West. Let's analyze these teams in our film session. Louisville won the district last year and was a regional finalist before losing to Prosper. The Farmers returned 7 starters on offense, including 1,500-yard rusher Byron Ellison and quarterback Ethan Terrell. The offensive line is going to be huge again, and the Farmers secondary returns 2 Division I recruits in Jaden Hardy and Tony Lewis Nakuba. Coppell went 6-1 in district play a year ago and had an excellent showing at this year's state 7-on-7 tournament. The receiving corps is where the Cowboys flex their muscle on offense, with Barron Tipton, Arian Sneed, and Luca Grisoli returning. On defense, look out for linebacker Weston Polk and defensive back Zach Cody. Marcus has Mike Alexander taking over as head coach, and the former Grapevine headman will look to the trenches on defense for experience. Matthew Bryant, Jace Bardwell, and Will Upshaw bring the bulk up front on the D-line. The Marauders will be breaking in a new QB as last year's starter Cole Welliver transferred out. Plano East will try to make a run at a postseason spot with Rice commit Drew DeVilliers leading the way at quarterback. Hebron missed out on the playoffs last year, but the Hawks' defense behind Bo Onu will be strong in this district. Plano went 4-7 on the season, but made the playoffs due to their district play. The Wildcats will have a new coach in Cody White, and much like Hebron, White will be relying on his defense early on. Flower Mound took some lumps last year, but still got 3 district wins. They will feature wide receiver Jason Welch. Plano West picked up a district win as well and will be hoping for more behind some inexperienced skill position players. Switch to Cricket and get a free Moto G 5G with your new plan. Smile, you're on Cricket. Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Do you or your student want a career training the world's best athletes? Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today. For an even deeper look at 6-6A, here's producer War Fasold and insider Matt Diggs with the district breakdown.
District breakdown time, we are talking 6-6A. That's Matt Diggs. He's our high school insider. He's got the knowledge. I fire him off questions and he takes off with me. So let's talk 6-6A, and let's furthermore talk about your top 25 that you put out a month ago, and you had Louisville up at number 3. So I know you're high on Louisville. Tell us why you're high on the Farmers.
Man, how can you not be leading off 6-6A without some Plano East talk? Come on, Ward. Where's my guy who understands me a little bit?
I don't understand your points as I should. Dang it. Well, we're talking Louisville anyway.
But, you know, I got a little bit of heat because I got to do the MC at the spring game, and we were having some banter, and you know the guy over there was like, "Who are some teams you need to watch out for in 6-6A?" And I was effusive in my praise of Louisville at the Plano East spring game, and people were starting to text me like, "Diggs, it's Plano East spring game. We got to be talking about Plano East." I'm like, "We got to talk about Louisville because if you are a 6-6A aficionado, you got to care about Louisville. They are not only the top team in this district; they might have a good run to the state semifinals. This is a team that might be competitive against Duncanville. They returned 10 all-district players that made first team or second team last year. I am very high. I know some aren't, but I am very high on their quarterback, Ethan Terrell. He really reminds me of Kyler Murray when he runs. He either seems to be run out of bounds or he scores a touchdown. I mean, he is a special player in space, and he has that will to win. Obviously, Kyler Murray didn't lose any games at Allen. That's big names, but he's like Kyler Murray. So I'm just saying he's like him. So obviously, he's a talented player. They returned like their whole offensive line.
We'll talk to you next week, Diggsy.
See you next week.
We'll post the entire breakdown segment this Wednesday on our social media pages. Now let's take a look at some game changers and our players on the rise presented by Parker University. At Louisville, Jaden Hardy is a 4-year starter in the defensive backfield, but can also be caught on offense. As a safety, Hardy had 56 tackles and 2 picks as he played in a stacked Farmer secondary. When head coach Mike Odell needs a big play on offense, Hardy was the man he called on as well. Jaden had 10 catches for 190 yards and 3 scores, plus 2 rushing touchdowns. Hardy is verbally committed to play at Oklahoma. Plano East has one of the best edge rushers in this district in Chima Chineke. At 6'4", 240, Chima uses his length and speed to get around blockers and into the backfield. Chineke had 31 tackles and 7 sacks for the Panthers in 2022. As he puts on more size, Chineke will continue to cause problems for 6'6" offenses. Chima has offers from Iowa, Oklahoma State, and Kansas, among others. Even when double-teamed, Marcus edge rusher Will Upshaw found his way to the ball carrier. Upshaw had 36 tackles, 1 sack, and a solid 11 tackles for loss. He was a first-team All-District selection as a junior and should repeat that feat in 2023. Upshaw hopes to lead the Marauders back to the postseason before heading to Tulsa, where he will play college ball. On offense, one of the strongest arms in the district belongs to Drew DeVilliers of Plano East. He threw for 2,210 yards and 18 touchdowns as a junior and was relatively under the radar, mainly because he is a serious prospect in baseball as an outfielder and pitcher. DeVilliers is looking to cut down on his turnovers, but he will be one to look out for in this district. Drew is committed to play both football and baseball at Rice. Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today. Switch to Cricket and get 4 lines for $25 each per month, plus unlimited nationwide 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket. Our Ward Fasol cut up to a head coach in this district to discuss his team and the rest of District 66A in our Media Day segment.
It is Media Day, and I am being joined by Capel head coach Antonio Wiley, which is a significant name to have considering you stepped into Capel and y'all started wiling out last year. And you only lost the 2 games, and it was the 2 guys that went, 3 rounds deep at least in the playoffs, so it's not like you lost to some slouches. Talk about your first year as the head man for the Cowboys and how you got them playing ball, 9-1 on the regular season, 9-2 overall.
Oh man, it happened fast. I'll tell you, I attribute our success to our seniors from last year because, you can come into a situation like this and you never know what you're going to get. If those seniors were highly attached to the previous regime and the previous head coach, that getting them to buy in sometimes tough for them to get in the boat. But credit to our seniors, they were just ready for change, not saying anything what needed to just absolutely be changed as far as the way things are ran. But what I will say is, they were hands-on and gung-ho about leaving their mark on the program and kind of setting the foundation for the team, for the classes to follow, to have something to live up to. And we had a group of seniors that just took off, and then my coaching staff did a great job of just getting the guys ready to go week in and week out, and not being glass half empty kind of guys. Not worried about the pieces of the puzzle that we necessarily didn't have that were better than our opponents. We just found ways to put our kids in positions to be successful. And to our kids' credit, they just jumped out there and they executed the plan week in and week out. And, the 2 teams that beat us were really good football teams. And, it's in Louisville and McKinney, and both of them, they had one thing. They had physicality and they had years within their system. And I think we have to be able to find a way to match those types of teams if we're going to find a way to make a run in the playoffs and be a serious contender.
Well, it's going to be a fun district, and it's even funner for me since I live up here in Flower Mound. I'll be at a bunch of these games. So I appreciate you joining me, Coach, and good luck in the fall.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
You can catch the entire interview Friday on our social media channels. That's going to do it for this week's Campfire. Next week, we will discuss District 7 6A. Until then, have a great week, everybody.